Bard.
A lot of things considered for now. Let's see, of course, Victor does make a lot of sense. Luch, however, not going to be too worried because he does have his golden chicken. He's normally very happy about. Civil looking to grab some early game power. Carbon showing us that Lee Sin can work out very well.
Civil also a closet Lee Sin main.
Yep.
Don't tell anybody.
He's letting us know now. Yeah, unless it's going to be switched over, of course. We'll be saving a potential top lane or support pick until last. That's what they're going to do. This would definitely be stepping back to comfort for Civil. They are going to lock in the Elise.
That's a very smart decision, locking that one in. I think the Elise has been undervalued in this series until game number 3.
Yeah.
So now that we're actually seeing this, I have a lot more faith in the jungle matchup at the very least, where time and again in the last one, Seb was pushing Civil out.
And the gank and skirmish heavy early game that we've been seeing just benefits Elise so much as well. I mean, you've spoken about it to no end. We'll see whether Civil is going to be able to make it work for them. And especially, like, I love this on a mentality level at the same time, just because Elise is something that Civil's very comfortable on. And if he definitely needs to turn things around for game number 3.
Yeah.
And this is a very good way of doing it. Just give him something that he can rely on muscle memory for.
I'm really wondering right now where Raid's going to go. They took the Ezreal, they banned the Lucian. Those were the 2 champions we said he'd be comfortable on. Does he default to the Vayne or the Caitlyn? Like, is that something that he actually can play? Vayne's good, but it's solo Q-esque. Like, what's his AD carry that he goes to?
Twitch would be amazing in this comp, but it is going to be Vayne. You're exactly right.
And he is a very talented player, Raid. That first game that we saw from him in game number 2, naturally.
Yeah.
Very impressive. And I can sing a lot of praise for this guy for his first performance. Not getting the jitters and making many mistakes. But Vayne, tell you what, if a long-standing player like Chenny cannot make that work, you're going to have a hard time. He has to be an outstanding performer. Thankfully, he has a Kindred Maokai Braum Azir, which is sculpted to ensure that the Vayne lives for as long as possible.
Just looking at a Vayne pick, I'm like, come on, man. Like, even Sivir, Sivir Braum's a decent lane, especially when you're up against something that could potentially be really disengage focused, like the Ezreal and the Trundle.
Yeah, so the Vayne can still kite the Trundle very easily, I will say. There is one thing he can do, it's handily kite a Trundle. The Elise, maybe not so much, but I have to allude towards the team comp that I just mentioned as well, like a Kindred to keep him alive if he gets caught, a Braum to stand in front of him with a shield, or Azir to stand in front of him with those ultimates. And then you've got a Maokai that's going to be in there anyway. Like, the tools they have is potentially enough.
We'll see exactly what is going to happen, as it's Regret that's going to pick up the support position in Trundle. I mean, sorry, not Trundle, in Thresh. Definitely a champion that he's been known for throughout his stint in Oceanic League of Legends in general. I mean, remembering back to the Your Soul Shell Shuffler days, where he just sort of made his mark here in the support role. His Thresh was phenomenal.
Yeah.
And Chippy's actually just going to opt into the Trundle matchup, into the Maokai, of course, something that Trundle fares quite happily in.
Yeah, so Trundle's going to be happy, the Elise is going to be happy, mid lane's going to be an average standard lane where Fantix might get his shot back at Luge. Yeah, bottom lane, Vayne into an Ezreal Thresh. If hooks hit, there could be a lot of blood spilled in that bottom lane, but I think both teams have got what they wanted.
Yeah, I'm actually really interested in how this bottom lane goes. I feel like that's going to be where we're looking, because exactly what you said, I mean, seems like it's going to be each player doing what they just want to do around the map, but it's that bottom lane, it's that point of contention. And of course, Raid now going to have to step up. Second game in the OPL, subbing in for Squidgy here at the same time. Had a great game number 2 performance, like you said, and pressure is well and truly on now on this Vayne pick.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest standout thing, is the pressure absolutely going to be there. I think Raid has to maintain composure. But the way that Raze plays on that Ezreal in particular, he's going to be forward. He's going to be very akin to that of King in our first series.
And we already saw him in game number 1. Just ridiculous. But hop on Twitter. Give your teams your support. Let's use that hashtag AEWin if you think that Abyss are going to be able to take this one, or the hashtag DWWin if you think that the Dials are going to be able to bounce back after a difficult game number 2. Of course, historically, been known to be able to do that.
There's one thing the Dials can do, it's bounce back after defeat, but Abyss coming into the OPL now in the second week, they've given it to the teams they've played against every single time. Dials, no exception. And coming into game number 3, they can't pull any punches this time.
Yeah, very impressive. Second half of second game for Abyss. We'll see whether they can carry that through as we are into Summoner's Rift. Raid picking up the chromed red skin here.
Dragon Slayer.
Like it a lot.
one of the betters.
Oh, Direwolves.
They've done it. Game 2, now again, Game 3. On the other side of the map, watch the sapling, however, to diffuse their lives and make them feel miserable. Never mind. Oh, they all outplayed it.
Nice.
Oh, we juked it.
Did good.
Oh, so ready for the 5-man sapling, though.
Seb once again checking over here. It's dangerous, but they have the mini ward. Everything's going to be fine.
Have you ever heard of Maokai support, by the way, with what you do is you get your money-making item.
Yeah.
And then you just throw saplings at them. You get so much money.
I like it. Also, I mean, like the perfect counter pick, the Sivir. It's just infinite mana. He throws a sapling, you're like, delicious.
Well, Sivir's also been the pick into Caitlyn historically for a very long time because they put down the traps and you just walk over it and say thank you for the mana.
And the cupcake.
Yeah, and you keep them pushed, right? So I think there's definitely merit in that respect to a Sivir, but we're still not seeing it because we're seeing a Vayne instead. Also further battle, yeah.
Yeah, and a lane swap potentially here as well, as Regret's going to make his way over. Seb, be a little bit careful, but does get the smite off. Regret's just like, oh, cheers for the souls, mate.
Walking a mega long way, honestly.
Level 2 has been hit by Luch. Able to utilize it, grab himself a little bit back. Takes a turret shot there, that's bad news.
Yeah, you've made a mistake, Mr. Luch. What he can do right now, however, is zone away Fantix, which I'm not entirely sure as to how Luch got to level 2 on the first wave. I'm thinking that he got some of the chickens.
Cheeky Maokai.
Yeah, might have been the Maokai Azir combo. But he's making it work for him. And T-Gun's here.
Yeah, looking to actually grab something back here as Fantix holds on to his flash, of course. But early aggression in the mid lane, just trying to make sure that they keep Fantix down, and it makes sense. Seeing this as an age-old tactic against the Direwolves.
Yeah, they're absolutely nipping at the person that usually takes them down. And Abyss, even with a level 1 roam from T-Gun, just for good measure. Because they are in a lane swap scenario. He has a bit of free reign. The AD carry as well, Raid. Can't push too fast, so they kept that lane frozen. Also hiding the weakness of that Vayne to an extent. Getting him through the first pain point. But it's the Direwolves that are doing it.
Yeah.
They think they can win on map play, working around the map.
And it's what worked for them in game number 1. I do like it. Go back to what you're good at. But lane swap answered quite nicely here so far. Mirrored almost entirely from Abyss. And we'll see what Direwolves decide to do after this. They are going to win as far as getting to that lane swap and getting this turret down is concerned. What happens next? That's the real question. As Chippies did hit level 2. So, of course, does have that ground in order to help his attack speed take down this turret. And he's just going to tank up the minion wave there as well. Backs are going to come in. Pac-Man waits for the creep wave to die.
Yeah, everything evens out, but Seb was also the one helping in this push to ensure that it kept pace this time around. As they match to an extent.
And they go straight to the dragon here at the same time.
Very well executed by Chippies. Make sure more minions die. That's going to be a mega freeze.
But it is going to be a very early Ocean Drake, which is huge. As Seb takes that one down, and you've mentioned this before, I mean, keeping the health and mana up of your support and jungle, things like that, moving around in this lane swap scenario, could be a really big deal.
Yeah, absolutely. Early Ocean Drakes, they're potentially game-changing, but...
Yeah, Sybil looking for Luch. Doesn't use any of his summoner spells, uses all of his mana though. And good lane positioning here from Fantix as he's going to head back to base.
And teleport.
Yeah.
That's actually what separates these guys. The cleanse and flash thankfully weren't used, as you mentioned, by Luch, but Fantix can come back and even up a lot of that gold difference now simply with his teleport. Things are looking strong now for Direwolves on the flip side, simply because Sybil walks in. And that's actually something that a lot of people don't realize with Azir is he uses a lot of mana. If you actually make him use more than just his Arise and his attack part with the Q. You make him actually use his E and dash around, he loses that mana so quickly in laning phase.
And it's even the Q. I mean, that's a very sort of thirsty spell as well. So if he is harassing like he has been doing, does have its trade-offs.
Now you can see the amount of mana that he just lost. He will regenerate a lot of it back, but more than just the W and the Q used is painful. Fantix, I'm not sure what you're doing.
Yeah, probably not a great idea to tank a billion creeps. Right, Luch. Able to clear out this minion wave. Keeps his lead in that CS department, but not by much. Is Abyss going to answer the shove on the bottom side of the map with a shove of their own on the top side? So this is going to be what they decide to make of the lane swap.
And for the viewers as well, remember Vayne actually maxing the W first. No longer do you max the tumble. Lasted a short while. Yeah, always max that W first. And shred tanks as well, so good way to kill the Trundle. Time passes.
Especially when the Trundle is going to be so huge after that Maokai gets subjugated. So having true damage against him is a gigantic deal. Raid actually going to get his slice of the pie as far as that local gold is concerned too. So wanting to make sure that the Vayne gets past this sort of early game lull as effectively as possible.
Look at mid though, they've actually rotated early, knowing that Chippies was going to get it instead of sharing gold. Remember, cleanse and flasher up.
Yeah, Luch actually moving very far forward, moving towards his team at the same time. Lots of vision available for Abyss as he gets in there. Does have level 6, but he's going to get caught by the cocoon. There's the cleanse, fantastically timed from Luch. My God, this end of the series, this guy's playing beautifully.
Except that he just went back in needlessly because he thought his team was there. They weren't there. Mr. Herald's very close to resetting.
Oh, he's going to as well.
And they juggle so much aggro. Pac-Man, if he takes aggro, would actually get close to dying. Taking them an awful long time. And during that time, you will find that Luch really wanted to engage.
Yeah.
This has been a monumental effort.
Yeah. Pac-Man celebrating the fact that he's not going to fall. Actually picks himself up the buff as well. Thinks he deserves it after tanking so much
But
damage.
like, so this is actually just really poor by Abyss. And yes, they're controlling. They got the early Dragon. They got the early Rift Herald. Look at the difference between top laners because Chippies has kept a freeze this entire time. They didn't try and break this freeze. It's actually still coming back towards him. And the best way that they can then defuse this is by sending their duo lane down there, or at least the support and somebody else, to try and push it. But it's still going to be pushing towards his base. Like this is the biggest lead that they should not be giving to Chippies that they have.
Yeah, and it's not only Chippies, who is a phenomenal sort of carry-oriented player in general, but it's also a Trundle. You don't want him getting a lead. That's just scary stuff.
Yeah, so he's going to be big.
Triple the CS.
Right, I mean, now, whenever they choose, they could put the AD carry down there if the freeze maintains and holds true. They could give all of that farm to Raze on the Ezreal, who is already 24 CS ahead of Raid. And this is all great. Map control was on point from Abyss, right?
Pac-Man, oh dear, it's very dangerous him being here towards the bottom side.
Yeah, he's going to get ganked. Like 100%. He's about to ward and find the Elise.
Oh, you can see Sybil did actually try to flash in. Not actually going to find too much here as Direwolves getting a lot of damage onto this inner turret. T-Gun's going to flank around, but there's a lot of minions for them to fight at the same time. Raid getting in on top. Regret going to get stunned, but it's just too many minions. They can't fight.
Yeah, so that's the counter freeze from the Direwolves that just got broken because it actually crashed onto the turret. Seb, he's in a weird spot. I don't know what the Direwolves are doing of being that aggressive. Because still, they want to give the advantage to Chippies. And thankfully, right, there's still a big CS advantage for Raze that could not be caught up by a freeze from Raid. Yeah. Very confusing names to say together.
Yeah. Antics is going to clear out the mini wave very, very nicely. Love it when the death ray sort of goes through you in a weird backwards move. It's confusing. Like it a lot. Luch not going to find him with any harassment with that WQ combo. And Fantix has evened things out entirely. Just trying to pick off single minions. Doesn't want to shove too hard. Wants to keep Luch in a position where he could potentially get ganked by this Elise.
Yeah. The game of isolation that's taking place in the middle lanes, giving Fantix a better time than he is deserving of, honestly, how that early game went. Luch are very strong as here, but Elise has made many appearances to try and stop him.
Oh, regret. Almost at the end of his back. Don't realize that there is vision available, though. Fantix picks up a whole bunch of chicken. Happy right there. Seb, yeah, finally able to give Pac-Man some space.
But you know what this is? This is a single wave of farm. Where do you think Pac-Man's going to go after that? Is he going to walk past the tower that's already been taken to the bottom lane and try and get the next wave, break the freeze perhaps because Seb's just left him? What they're doing is winning through dragons.
Really nice death sentence there as well as Seb. Not going to be able to get out. Does have the Lamb's Respite. Puts it up. But the rest of the Direwolves are piling it on top. Chippies is going to make his way down as well. It's a decent pillar as Pac-Man gets all of his resistance.
Oh.
That first blood goes down to Raze with a 6 snipe, and Regret almost gets a death sentence. Whoa, wow. Ezreal just seems to be such a key pick in this matchup.
Yeah, fantastic work from Raze, and this is essentially the undoing of Abyss. Now, starting to actually feel a bit prevalent where it should not have been in the first place. They've got the freeze for the Ezreal. Victor's going to be the recipient of that top lane. Luch now.
Yeah, there's the bounce back as well as Luch is able to shift some stands away. T-Gun is going to take a cocoon. The Dial's just looking aggressive in position to be so.
It's also pressuring them off getting a dragon. So what Abyss were looking for is to win this through a neutral objective. Get the Cloud, get the Ocean Drake, whatever that third one was, perhaps focus it as well, and just dragon their way to victory. But because of the undoing of the Seb jungle role right now, they get themselves the dragon. They maintain CS advantages. Oh, unless the sapling is a god.
The sap steal would be sick. Of course, Sybil didn't have smite, so they are going to be able to take down the dragon though nonetheless. Raze, Regret is going to clear out some vision here at the same time, but Pac-Man just once again in these lane swaps, he cannot do anything because Abyss don't create room for him.
Yeah, they have not helped him at all, and honestly, I don't think they can, because the difference was already so great that they needed to get the farm onto Vayne. Priorities.
Yeah.
All right, there's more value to giving Vayne farm. And now T-Gun's here. Doesn't mean they can 2v2, because there's nothing available to this Maokai. And what Direwolves want is to break this so that it doesn't freeze once again. Make it crash on the turret, reset the wave, and then pick up the scraps once it starts coming back towards them.
Yeah, sort of once again, Direwolves in exactly the right position in order to do so at the same time.
But they need to do it first. This is a big wave. So.
Raze is 3 levels above Pac-Man. Like, that is just crazy.
And you know what we saw in the first game when the Dials were winning is Raze actually killing Pac-Man in these side lanes.
Yeah.
He's stopping it. Look, T-Gun's trying this though.
Not going to happen.
There you go. Reset.
But at least he will be able to pick up this wave of farm. Ish.
Now he'll be happy with what he got. The difference is still pretty large between the two. But I think for what it's worth, the Ocean Drake will help out a lot with their early sustain. Everyone's happy on Abyss with just trying to scale. It is what they do as a team.
Yeah.
They want those team fights. They want to get to those team fights successfully. And now it's actually a fairly awkward position where at the early game went well for the Direwolves, considering how it actually shouldn't have potentially, just due to neutral control. Everyone's kind of back to square one.
Yeah, we can see there's actually going to be a mark picked up from Seb. Fantix wants to just kill him. Is the Death Ray going to find one tick? In goes Sybil. The cocoon is going to land. Seb just going to explode, but the ultimate is available. They didn't stun him for quite long enough as the repel is going to get Sybil up there. Fantix able to last long enough. Pac-Man picks up a much-needed kill, but Regret is going to punish T-Gun. Raze over the top, right in amongst it here. It's a double kill for Fantix as the Emperor's Divide comes a little bit late. And Direwolves are going to be able to win that one. The Subjugate comes in here as Raid's going to get slowed down for a moment by the tumble, but he's dancing forward. And I have a feeling Chippies ain't going to be able to find anything. And that is going to be Raid picking up the 1v1 kill, and it's just Chippies just not able to do anything in that 1v1.
Yeah, well, look, Chippies is AD heavy at the moment, and he's up against a fairly strong Vayne who's been sitting in side lanes this entire time. He's a higher level. They are pushing their luck across the board here, both teams.
I think, yeah, Pac-Man just tried to gank Fantix and Luch almost died.
Well, Luch also could have used his ultimate earlier in that fight happening near the middle lane, near those Raptors.
T-Gun going to get hooked. Pac-Man trying to go back. Luch as well. He's going to be backing.
Thank God the T-Gun was standing in front of Luch.
Yeah. He would have been dead, just flat out dead.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Pressure's on though.
Yep, Seb looking for the smite. Not going to happen. Fade away jump shot here from Sybil. Even gets himself a little second. That's adorable. We'll see whether he can grab this Rift Scuttler at the same time. He just looks so much better on this Elise pickup. Almost has that Runic Echoes and a Sightstone there just to augment all of the vision that Direwolves have been quite good at putting down in the earlier stages of all of these games.
Yeah, it's looking good. Once again, they're starting to be more aggressive with their invades here, Direwolves. It's very hard for an Elise to throw herself with an elastic slingshot in, so a little bit more reserved, I would say.
Good point. In fact, she has more tools to keep herself alive for longer in that repel. Brilliant, brilliant stuff. It is actually an easily large roll. Nice. Here, Seb just gets caught out of position, exploded by Chippies. And of course, Fantix's Chaos Storm, which probably did the majority of the damage. Sybil still flanking around, looking to try and get a pick. Pac-Man, wrong position, wrong time, as it's Raze that's right in amongst it. He says, well, I'm probably going to die. And Fantix just grabs another one. 3-0-1 for this Victor. And Abyss, can't get too much more.
No, but the threat of the hook from Regret, the threat of the engage as well from most of the direwolves, it's actually deterring Abyss from even trying to match these fights and trade at all. And the end result is, once again, a bigger lead established. No luck to be seen, as per the analyst Death's suggestion.
Whoop. Raze, however, is going to be able to make it to relative safety here after Luch throws some soldiers at him. And once again, no like, freeze is going to happen. Shoves that wave all the way up into the turret. And Abyss still unable to really find anything for Pac-Man, who's 50 to 105.
Yep, so Pac-Man is ultimately going to be the undoing of Abyss if they end up losing this game. The carry's still getting farm, still doing the best they can. Raids a Vayne. He is going to scale. Azir always going to scale with damage. And there are things to look forward to. They have win conditions here.
Oh, and the colors
as well. Going to be a bit of money. Hopefully his boots upgraded unless he goes Zealand. Gets a bit greedy for crit.
Blue buff there for Fantix as he death rays all of that chicken. He's going to be able to kill this one at the same time. As they are waiting for the Infernal. Oh, sorry, the Cloud Drake to come back up. Regret unable to get the flay. Nice winter's bite there from T-Gun.
I think you can flay them over that wall, actually, if you do it perfectly.
Yeah, I think they have to be hugging it, I think.
Well, he was hugging it, but he missed the play.
Chippy's is actually looking to try and grab himself a red buff here as well. Ravenous Hydra is completed as the hook is going to land onto T-Gun. Sybil there as well, lands the cocoon. Nice pick potential out of this comp. But only going to take half of his health.
But that's half of his health next to the dragon spawning, which means if they do it again, he's dead. And that should be the free objective. Look at the way Raze is playing as well. He's actually itemized straight into the tankiness, the red buff, and the slows everywhere.
Big kite potential out of this Ezreal, most definitely.
Yeah, and he's able to work around his team nicely and kick this one off.
Ocean Drake is of course there, so T-Gun actually getting his health back relatively quickly. There is vision in here. Oh, the Winter's Bite steal. Might is available for Sybil.
2 clouds.
Yeah, double cloud. Triple for the sick movement speed and particle effect.
So the next one's going to be Infernal, unfortunately, Atlas.
Damn it.
We're not going to see that. Seb's actually about to flank. Deep down, I believe he can 1v2. Deep down, I mean on the surface.
Yep.
As in right now, he can 1v2.
There's the ward in that. But Luch is going to find a Q. Smack him in the head. Level advantage available for the victor there. Raze just continuing to shove things down. We've got multiple CC bots coming in here for the Direwolves. Raze doing his best King impression, using that Arcane Shift very aggressively.
We always compare the 2 AD carries.
Yeah. They're doing it very nicely. I mean, King's Ezreal looked fantastic. And Raze also looked so strong again, #1. That was a sick cocoon.
Yeah, Direwolves now pressuring the inner turret in the bottom lane. They have the vision set up. They have all of the means to continue this.
We're talking about item spikes here as well. I mean, you mentioned Raze has the Iceborne Gauntlet, but there's also a Rylai's Crystal Scepter completed here for Fantix. Ravenous Hydra done for Chippy, starting to build up into that armor. Looks like Iceborne Gauntlet to be item #2.
I feel like, yeah, Raze is still splashing with items and stuff. I feel like Raid's still going to take him on. This is going to come down to a mechanics battle. I think ideally for Abyss as well to actually get Raid 1v1ing Raze. And get the Raids off. Oh. Luch is necessary to be with the team at all times. If he's not there, their wave clear doesn't exist. So Luch is like the ultimate factor within this team comp, as he generally is within Abyss as well. He's a star player, to be perfectly honest.
That's how it works, yeah. Blue buff once again going to be stolen away here as Sybil gets in on top of it. Chippy's actually is the one that picks it up. Not sure whether they necessarily wanted that to happen, but it doesn't really matter too much. Spectre's Cowl has been picked up by Pac-Man. He's trying to get to some form of item. Doesn't really have anything completed just yet, just some components. But Bliss actually able to do some work here to the turret. Gravity Shield going to stop him from being able to get too much more down.
Pac-Man is 3 levels down. The Raid has to be it.
Yeah, Raid is actually going to come over those. Chippy's misses the flash. Is actually going to mean that the Condemn didn't work, but he is going to fall down in the end. Nice pick up there from Raid.
Yeah, Raid actually following up with the flash of his own, so it would have been a kill regardless of that. As 7 Rays now having their turn.
Yeah, a bit of a dance around here as Raze actually wants to get the red buff, but it's just not going to happen as Regret flashes forward. Seb in trouble. Ignite is down as Regret is actually standing on that one. Fantix able to pick up a kill for himself.
Raid's here though.
Yep. just heads over, and Raze says, come on, man, give away my position.
Yeah, so Raze cancels his recall, Regret flashes to safety, and Fantix picks up another kill, but Abyss is still fighting. And they do want to still give it to them. The turret's going to fall, you would imagine here. Fantix, no way.
Yeah, so pick up the objective afterwards. This is definitely an Abyss Esports once again fighting back here in the mid game. We may have a potential for a just a repeat. What happened in game number 2?
But again, the problem. Always look at that top lane farm. There is zero opportunity that Pac-Man was ever going to be able to contest Chippies as the game progressed anyway, but with the advantage that he has, he can't contest him now. The saving grace of that is that Raid has always been there, and given the Trundle item build, Raid actually destroys him with Vayne.
Oh yeah.
So if this continues to happen, we continue to get Vayne in side lanes, yes, it's actually going to start looking better for Abyss, except that this can happen at any time.
Oh, there's the flash cocoon. Luch can't follow up with the shifting sands, and Sybil's going to lock him down. Fantastic play from the Direwolves as the Glacial Fissure comes out from T-Gun, but he's not going to be able to find it. Fantix, one more time, playing brilliantly. Just has so much damage on this Victor. 5-0 and 2.
Baron.
Teleport's going to come in. Yeah, they're just going to go straight for the Baron.
Yeah, so they can see Vayne in the bottom lane now as well. He's too far away. They will do a lot of damage to this. Sybil is taking a lot, but with Chippies here, it'll be fine.
With that Ravenous Hydra is going to do some work, and look, it's already down to below half health. Pac-Man wants to find his way in, but I'm not sure whether he's going to be able to get much done. Frozen Heart has been picked up. Yes, Seb's actually looking for it. Death Sentence doesn't land. That was a phenomenal pillar, and Seb's going to die. They peel up the Baron, pick up the jungler, and then kill the big purple worm, and Direwolves surge ahead.
The pillar and the flay pretty much simultaneously keeping Seb out. He had no flash. Didn't even have his ultimate. He was looking for a miracle steal. And the miracle does not come today for Abyss. 5-0 and 3 right now is this Victor. 2-0-3 is the Ezreal. The carries are huge. They're set up now with this big gold lead. Everything they could want and more now.
Yeah, 2/3 of the kills as well helped to be provided by Sybil, who's just been hanging around with Regret. I think this is beautiful, sort of the new support on the team. But Sybil has a bad game number 1, and then all of a sudden Regret's there, and their sort of tandem work here with this pick duo is beautiful to watch.
Well, it is because they're the pick duo, to be perfectly blunt. They've drafted themselves to be more effective with this.
Has worked very well. Oh, Raid actually picked up the Phantom Dancer for like more 1v1 potential. Do you agree with that over the static shift for the potential wave
the
clip?
Trundle, and Trundle's very killable with the Phantom Dancer. Static shift for wave clear would be nice, but they've got the Azir to cover that up. It's just as Baron is going to make every piece of wave clear.
Oh my god, the hook onto Pac-Man Cocoon lands as well as Fantix just drops the base. Ultimate has to come out from Seb, but that's not in the team fight. As Luch, way too low. Pac-Man tagged.
Oh my god, the Ludens might have got him. No.
Whoa.
Red buff and Ludens almost actually killed him there in the end, but Direwolves, the poke they've got is unreal. The pick they've got is ridiculous. Chip is just kind of here.
Where did he come from? I don't know, wandered from behind the turret there as Luch still trying to back, walks even further away. He needs to get back to base. Sybil's going to wander over. Yeah, this is inner turret falling down as well. We'll see what more the Direwolves can get as they are transitioning towards the bottom side.
They should just do Infernal Dragon, but if they have enough movement around here and they have enough vision to set up still, then they could actually look towards that bottom turret.
I do like the Infernal Drake priority here. The rest of the Abyss are moving over. With lots of vision, well prepared for this one. It is going to be Fantix that picks up the Dragon. Sybil over the top here as well as Pac-Man tanking a lot of damage. Claps his hands. Not going to find too much. Lantern is going to be given to the Elise, and Dial's going to head back, use that Empowered Recall, and buy a heck of a lot of items.
Yeah, and they show some reservation as well. They don't commit to the fight after the Dragon. They go back, they get their buys, and this is a very much reinvigorated Game 3 Direwolves. They draft better, they play the game more soundly. Abyss also give them that in, however, with the difference in top lane farm. You have to give priority to your top laner. You have to stop freezes from happening. You can't just give everything to the Vayne and expect that to work. He's still a Vayne. Raid 2-0. Farming decently, performing well. Good rookie AD carry coming into the OPL.
But there's a useless tree. He's a bonsai right now.
Yeah, there is a tree that is not a tank. It's like a Christmas tree, man. Everyone's present.
Sybil was coming around. Raises here as well as Pac-Man once again sets off that ultimate with Abyss. They look aggressive when I don't know whether they're equipped to be. Pac-Man's just getting tagged over and over again. Fantix is in here. Abyss able to clear out some of the vision. Answered though by Sybil as he has a Sightstone, so this guy's able to throw down as many wards as he wants. Raid doing the best that he can, but he's not going to be able to do anything against this. Yeah, True Chippy's just doing his split push thing. He's equipped for it. Got exactly the build.
So this is what they're going to do. They're going to send Raid down here. They're going to try and hope that the Vayne can 1v1 Chippies, which is possible. Not ideal, but it is definitely possible. The problem is Pac-Man being a frontline with the 4v4 does not exist. He actually does not exist as a frontline member. With more than one person hitting Pac-Man, he dies.
Yeah, Drop Barrage is going to fly down here as well. Nice Unbreakable from T-Gun. Death Sentence is going to pick Pac-Man out of nowhere. Brilliant Cocoon to follow up. That has managed to get out the ultimate from T-Gun. Teleport to come in from Chippies, and they're just going to take down this inner turret. Fantix, considering a back at the moment, does have Teleport available for himself at the same time.
Yeah.
But this is night and day. Direwolves game 1, game 2. This is more a game 1 Direwolves, if ever I've seen one.
Yeah, and this is what happens when you put Vayne into a side lane. Trundle teleports in and has an impact on a teleport for a team fight or for a tower taken. Big change here from Dials, very polarizing.
Yeah. Really good to see that they are still the team that can bounce back from adversity. Got Raid, yeah. Able to farm up, you're exactly right.
Again, I don't think the Raid's been playing poorly. It's just that they don't have someone to deal with Trundle, so they have to send this Vayne. I'm sure they'd love to have him in a team fight, but they have no choice. Talk about throwing your AD carry under a bus, though. It's basically saying...
He's there with a tree as well. I mean, Pac-Man's well and truly under that bus, man.
No, I mean, it's so realistically what I'm trying to get at is, Raid, you're no longer a part of team fights. You enjoy your side lane. Yeah. If you happen to be at the right place at the right time, we can team fight with you. But until such a time, where the Direwolves might choose your lane as the plan of attack, you deal with Trundle now. Maokai, stand in front of everybody and die repeatedly. But don't die. Just get low. It's like, it's impossible to do, but that's their only ideology until late game, where Azir is still starting to farm. He's going to be big, but look at this.
Oh my god, Ray's just making Pac-Man go the wrong direction. He's like, well, I'll kill a minion or 3. And that is Ray's just picking him up in the 1v1. And that was sort of brutal to watch.
He's been Flamerizing the next wave that Trundle picks up. Disaster. Actually a disaster.
Sybil even able to pick up farm around this map. Where do Direwolves go next? It's now, most definitely...
Well, this is where they go next.
Yeah. Fantix flashes on top. Raid gets over the top of it, though. Fantix is able to pick up the kill, but some cute mechanics in the meantime. As Luke not going to get hit. Takes a bit of a journey there as Sybil heads up into the air. See whether he can take his way out. He's going to do so with the flash as well. Nice desperation play there from Luch, but
very lucky to get out alive, I will say. Luch used all of his summoner's spells, as well as Sybil, who actually was stuck in the thick of it. But this is where the disparity is. Fantix recognizing the 1v1, and here we go.
Yeah, ult down here from Seb. Turret is going to fall, though, as Sybil back up to some health after that one falls down. My god! Whoa, triple kill if you include the turret there for Raze, as the Ezreal is going completely ballistic. 5-0-3 for the Ezreal, 6-0-3 for the Victor. Direwolves, their carries are well known to be Raze and Fantix, and they are stepping up this time, as well as the CC bot support staff of Sybil and Regret. This has been beautiful. Pac-Man is so dead. As Sybil is going to deny his death to everyone. Pac-Man lasting a little bit longer than we were expecting, but Lucius gets exploded with a 1 round of spells from Fantix. Sun turret's there. That is going to protect the last remaining inhibitor for Abyss. But it's a 14,000 gold lead at 30 minutes into this game. Direwolves, a comprehensive first start to this one.
Yeah, that's right. The 14,000 mark is pretty unreasonable to come back from. They don't have a tank.
It'd be one hell of a comeback if they were to do it.
They have absolutely nothing really to set them up for a victory in this game besides the Vayne and Luch, who Luch still ahead of the clock in farm. Just makes so much sense that he'll do that because Luch.
Yep.
I feel like that's the only excuse at the moment. The Desperation Baron, this is a last-ditch effort. Direwolves already here.
Yeah, Raze over the top. Look at that Chaos Storm doing so much damage. Seb just going to get popped. Legendary now is Fantix as Raid is going against Raze, but it's not going to happen. T-Gun then going to fall afterwards, and everyone on Abyss is melting. Luch the last man standing. I have a feeling not for long as he's getting stalked by a spider. And he has to go all the way back to his fountain in order to make it. The jukes are now going to come out, but it's not going to be enough. The magnet on the cocoon and the death sentence, and that's the ace. And Direwolves are going to follow their minions to the Nexus and take the game.
I think it's safe to say the Direwolves play better because CBLOL actually plays a lot better. Their carries still doing their jobs, but the rest of their map is just above and beyond what we saw in game number 2. Straight back to that game 1 form. And the Direwolves, you said it before, comprehensive victory. From start to finish, they played a map better than Abyss does.
Absolutely stunning. I mean, that was a clinic by the Direwolves, and I love seeing, finally, CBLOL go back to the Elise. I just have a feeling that this looks so much different.
Yeah, he does, and honestly, it's just the way that he plays, but Abyss, they just couldn't get there.
No, certainly couldn't, but we are going to throw it one more time back to the analyst desk to break down that Direwolves victory.
Thanks so much, guys. And with that, Direwolves do pick up the second best of 3 in 2-1 fashion over Abyss Esports. Want to break down the game briefly with our analysts here, Bensel and Frosker. And another lane swap enacted by the Direwolves, and it seems that, you know, the composure, that veteran status that we spoke about, seems to be shining through in this situation.
Yeah, I mean, originally they played the lane swap not very accurately. They didn't take the waves properly, but afterwards, the way the lane shook out and how long it took them to do Rift Herald, Chippy's just had a massive lead.
Yeah, and in that lead, they were just able to put Pac-Man behind on the Maokai, and that meant there was no backline threat to really dive onto this victor. And Perfection of Fantix had a really impressive game in the latter stages.
I'm kind of speaking about comp as well. The fact that Raid had to go to the Vayne pickup. Not that I'm entirely against Vayne, but again, it's this idea that there's a reason why Caitlyn is coming back. And if you're picking Vayne into the likes of Victor and Trundle and you don't have that backline threat, there's no way that Vayne's going to ever be in a position to do damage to them without also being in massive threat range herself.
Yeah, and that we saw that because in the bottom lane, I mean, Fantix walks down there at the end of the game, 2 spells, and just absolutely wipes him out of that. However, CBLOL, you know, we gave Seb a lot of credit coming into this game, hyped him up as a jungler. In this game, especially, CBLOL definitely had an impressive performance on the Elise, going back to more of a standard pick here.
Yeah, get him back on that champion. He does really well when he can gank and gank fast and repeatedly.
Yeah, and
yeah, he just effectively ran over Seb, and I kind of want to echo Rusty's sentiments in the back half of that cast is, yeah, the Direwolves look good, but we expect, you know, their solo lanes and their carries to step forward and be those mechanical monsters, but it's CBLOL that's kind of like the hinge on which their success swings. We don't necessarily think that he has I consider CBLOL kind of one of the weaker points of Direwolves, but the fact that that team is so consistent kind of speaks to his strength alone, but when he shows up, it seems that everything is going in the same direction.
Well, he did show up, so Direwolves are able to get the 2-1. As we take a look at this results from tonight's matches, it was going to be Legacy picking up the 2-0 versus Hellions and Direwolves picking up the 2-1 versus Abyss Esports. Tomorrow night, however, we do have our OPL Legend match as Tainted Minds take on the Chiefs before Avantgarde take on Bensel Sin Gaming. Want to come to you quickly, Bensel. Thoughts about Avantgarde? Any words before you go into that match? How are you guys feeling about it?
We'll 2-0 them.
You'll 2-0 them?
Yep.
All right, nice and confident there, guys. I do want to remind you also that we have some OPL Final tickets that are on sale right now. August 13th is the date. It is in Brisbane, Queensland, so pick up those tickets, head along and have a great time there. However, that is all the time we have for tonight. Tune in tomorrow at 6 p.m. for more League of Legends action, but on behalf of myself, Bensel Frosker, and the casters and the entire production crew, thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you tomorrow.